Good evening, my friend. I'm glad you're here tonight. Have you ever noticed how the day can finally end? The lights are off, the room is quiet, and yet your mind refuses to rest. Your body feels exhausted, but your thoughts keep moving. Old conversations replay. Tomorrow's worries line up one by one. There's a tightness in the chest, a restlessness you can't quite explain. This happens to so many people living busy lives in America. We work hard. We carry responsibility. We try to stay strong. But when the world goes silent at night, the mind doesn't know how to stop. If this feels familiar, let me tell you something gently. This restlessness is not a failure. It's not a personal flaw. It's simply a mind that has been running for too long without a place to rest. Tonight, I want to share a quiet teaching drawn from Buddhist wisdom, not as religion, not as belief, but as a practical way to understand what's happening inside you. A way to stop fighting the mind and instead guide it back to calm. You don't need to fix your life tonight. You don't need answers. Let's begin by understanding why the mind holds on so tightly and how it can finally learn to let go. The mind holds tightly because it believes it has to. And that belief is what makes the weight feel so heavy. Many people think they are tired because they are doing too much. Too many hours. Too many responsibilities. Too many demands. But if you look closely, something quieter is happening underneath. You may notice it at the end of the day when you finally sit down. Your body sinks into the couch, shoulders slumping forward, breath shallow but relieved. For a brief moment, there is silence. Then almost immediately, the mind starts lifting invisible boxes again. Did I forget something? What if this doesn't work out? I should have handled that differently. What's coming next? Nothing new has happened, yet the sense of effort returns. This is because exhaustion is not always created by action. Very often, it is created by holding expectations, holding worry, holding responsibility for things that cannot be controlled. In American life, we are taught early to carry our own weight, to be reliable, to be strong, to handle things without asking for help. So we carry the job. We carry the family. We carry the future. And quietly, we carry the fear of falling behind. You can see this in small, ordinary scenes. A person sits in their car after parking, engine off, hands resting on the steering wheel, staring straight ahead for a few seconds before going inside. Someone stands at the kitchen sink, late at night, water-running mind somewhere far away. A body lies in bed, eyes closed, jaw clenched, just slightly as if still bracing. The body is no longer working, but the mind hasn't stopped lifting. In Buddhist psychology, this is not called laziness or weakness. It is called mental burden. The Buddha observed something very precise about human suffering. He noticed that pain increases when the mind insists on carrying everything all the time. Not because the person is careless, but because the mind believes that if it lets go, something will collapse. So it stays tight. Even rest becomes effort. You might feel this when you try to relax and can't. The body wants to soften, but the mind stays alert, scanning for what might go wrong next. This constant scanning is exhausting. And yet from the inside, it feels responsible. There is a quiet misunderstanding here. Many people confuse vigilance with care. They believe that worrying is a form of love, that holding tension is a form of commitment. But the Buddha taught something very different. He taught that clinging does not protect what we love. It only drains the one who is clinging. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack all day. At first you manage. You adjust the straps. You shift your posture. But hour after hour, the weight presses down. Not because the bag is growing heavier, but because your muscles were never meant to stay tense forever. The mind works the same way. It can hold responsibility for a time. It can focus under pressure. But when holding becomes constant strain, turns into suffering. This is why so many people feel most tired at night when they finally stop moving. During the day, momentum carries you. At night, the weight catches up. You may notice it as a heaviness in the chest or a pressure behind the eyes, or a feeling of being emotionally full with no room left. This is not something wrong with you. It is a signal. The Buddha described this signal as the body and mind asking for release. Not escape, release. Release does not mean abandoning your life. It means allowing the mind to stop gripping what it cannot fix in this moment. A woman once described how every night her shoulders ached, even though she hadn't lifted anything heavy. When she paid attention, she realized her shoulders were raised all evening as if bracing. Bracing for tomorrow. Bracing for bad news. Bracing for disappointment. The moment she noticed this, her shoulders dropped slightly. Her breath moved lower into her chest. Nothing in her life changed, but her experience did. This is the beginning of understanding. The Buddha taught that suffering grows when the mind confuses holding with safety. Safety does not come from constant tension. Safety comes from knowing when it is okay to rest. This is difficult in a culture that values productivity and endurance so highly. Many people feel guilty when they stop, guilty when they rest, guilty when they are not actively fixing something. But guilt itself is another weight. The Buddha did not teach endless effort. He taught balanced effort, effort that knows when to engage, an effort that knows when to release. You can feel the difference immediately when release begins. The breath lengthens, the face softens, the internal pressure eases just a little. This is not giving up. This is wisdom recognizing limits. You are not meant to carry every thought to its conclusion. You are not meant to solve tomorrow tonight. You are not meant to hold fear continuously in the name of responsibility. When the mind begins to understand this, something gentle happens. Instead of asking, "What else do I need to do?" it begins to ask, "What can I safely put down right now?" This question changes everything. Because peace does not begin when life becomes light. Peace begins when the mind learns how to stop adding weight. You may notice that simply hearing this allows your body to soften a little. That is not coincidence. That is recognition. The Buddha's teaching here is deeply practical. He did not ask people to deny difficulty. He asked them to stop carrying difficulty in unnecessary ways. When the mind stops gripping so tightly, energy returns. Not because life is easier, but because effort is no longer wasted on constant tension. This is why the next step is so important. If exhaustion comes from holding, then rest begins when the mind learns where it can safely rest its attention. And that is where the path gently turns next. When the mind begins to loosen its grip, something subtle but important becomes visible. You start to notice that the weight you've been carrying does not always come from what is happening around you. Often, it comes from how the mind keeps holding on to what has already happened or what might happen next. Nothing new occurs in the room. The lights are still dim. The night is still quiet. Yet inside the same scenes replay. A conversation from years ago returns word for word. A decision you wish you had made differently tightens the chest. A future moment you cannot control appears again, as if rehearsing will somehow protect you. This is where Buddhist psychology offers one of its clearest insights. Life brings difficulty, but suffering grows when the mind refuses to let the difficulty pass. The Buddha did not say that pain comes from existence itself. He observed that pain deepens When the mind clings, when it grabs, resists, and replays, you can feel this clinging in the body. The jaw tightens as if holding words back. The stomach knots as if bracing for impact. The breath becomes shallow, quick, protective. The event is no longer present. Only the mind's attachment to it is. In Buddhist teaching, this attachment is not moral failure. It is not weakness. It is simply habit. The mind learns early on that holding feels safer than releasing. So it holds on to outcomes. It holds on to expectations. It holds on to identities. I should have known better. This shouldn't be happening. What if everything falls apart? Each thought feels urgent. Each thought demands attention. And slowly the mind begins to live more in its stories than in reality. The Buddha used a simple image to explain this. He said life can strike us with an arrow loss, illness, disappointment, uncertainty. That first arrow hurts. It is real. But then the mind often fires a second arrow. Why did this happen to me? What does this say about me? How do I stop this from ever happening again? The second arrow is optional, but most of us fire it without realizing. That second arrow is clinging. You can see this clearly in modern life, especially in the West. We are taught to analyze, plan, and fix. So when something painful happens, the mind goes to work immediately. It reviews, it judges, it predicts. This activity feels productive, but over time, it becomes exhausting. A man once described how he lost sleep for months after a single comment from his supervisor. The comment itself lasted seconds, but the mind replayed it every night. He argued back in his head. He imagined future confrontations. He tried to control an outcome that no longer existed. The suffering was not coming from the comment anymore. It was coming from the mind's refusal to release it. This is the core teaching here. It is not life that keeps hurting us. It is the mind's insistence on holding life in a fixed grip. The Buddha taught that everything that arises also passes. Thoughts, feelings, situations. But clinging interrupts this natural movement. It is like grabbing water with a closed fist. The tighter you squeeze, the less you hold. When the mind clings, it freezes experience. It turns moments into burdens. You may notice this late at night when there is nothing to distract you. The mind scrolls through memories the way a finger scrolls through a phone one after another without rest. This is not because the memories are important. It is because the mind is trying to protect itself. It believes that by holding on, it can prevent pain. But protection through clinging never works. The Buddha's insight was radical in its simplicity. He taught that peace does not come from controlling life. It comes from seeing clearly how the mind relates to life. When the mind sees a thought as a thought, not as truth, not as command, the grip weakens. When a feeling is seen as a feeling, not as identity, the pressure eases. This seeing is not intellectual. It is experiential. You may feel it when you notice a worry arise, and instead of following it, you pause. For half a second, there is space. In that space, the body softens slightly. The breath moves more freely. Nothing has been solved, but something has been released. This is not indifference. This is wisdom. Many people fear that if they stop clinging, they will stop caring. That if they let go, they will become passive or irresponsible. The Buddha taught the opposite. Clinging clouds judgment. Releasing clarifies it. When the mind is not busy gripping it, can respond more skillfully, with patience instead of panic, with compassion instead of control. This is especially important for those who carry responsibility for others. Parents, caregivers, people who feel they must always hold everything together. The Buddha never asked anyone to abandon their duties. He taught how to carry them without suffering. He taught that care does not require tension. Love does not require fear. When the mind loosens its grip, you may notice small but meaningful changes. Your shoulders drop without effort. Your face softens lines, easing around the eyes. The breath settles into a slower rhythm. These are signs that the nervous system is no longer in constant defense. This is what the Buddha meant by freedom. Not freedom from life, but freedom from unnecessary suffering. Freedom from the second arrow. You do not need to push thoughts away. You do not need to force calm. You only need to see how the mind clings and what happens when it doesn't. That seeing is already enough to begin change. As this understanding deepens, a natural question arises. If suffering grows when the mind clings, what helps the mind feel safe enough to release? This question gently opens the door to the next step, one that gives the mind a stable place to rest without force, without struggle. When the mind finally sees how tightly it has been holding, another realization begins to unfold quietly, without drama. You start to notice that the same reactions keep appearing. Not once, not twice, but again and again. The same worry at the same hour of the night. The same tightness when certain thoughts arise. The same inner voice predicting the worst before anything has actually happened. This repetition is not random. In Buddhist psychology, this is where the teaching of karma becomes deeply practical and deeply misunderstood. Many people hear the word karma and immediately think of punishment. as if life is keeping score, as if suffering is a sentence handed down for past mistakes. But the Buddha did not teach karma as judgment. He taught karma as conditioning. Karma is not what happens to you. Karma is how patterns are formed through repetition. Think of a path through tall grass. The first time you walk through it, the grass resists. The second time, it bends more easily. After many, many times, the path forms on its own. You don't need to think about where to step anymore. Your feet already know. The mind works the same way. Each time stress appears and the mind reacts with fear, that path becomes clearer. Each time, discomfort arises and the mind tightens. That response becomes familiar. Each time a painful memory is replayed, the groove deepens. This is karma, not fate, not punishment, habit. This is why many people feel trapped in the same emotional loops. They say, "I don't know why I keep reacting this way." Or I promised myself I wouldn't spiral again, but I did. From the Buddhist perspective, nothing mysterious is happening. The mind is simply walking the path it knows best. And here is the crucial point. If karma is habit, then karma is not permanent. Habits can change. The Buddha taught that karma is shaped moment by moment through intention and attention, not through guilt, not through force, but through awareness. You may notice this in very small moments. A familiar thought begins to form, and for a brief instant, you see it. That instant matters. Before the mind would automatically follow the thought. Now, there is a pause. In that pause, the body responds. The breath slows slightly. The shoulders soften. Nothing dramatic has changed. But the pattern has been interrupted. This interruption is powerful. A woman named Laura once described how her anxiety always peaked late at night. Every evening, without fail, her chest tightened and her thoughts raced ahead to everything that could go wrong. She believed this anxiety was just how she was wired. One night, instead of trying to calm herself, she simply noticed the first moment anxiety appeared. Not the full spiral, just the beginning. A tightening, a quick breath, a familiar urge to start planning and worrying. She didn't stop it. She didn't judge it. She noticed it. That noticing changed everything. The spiral still tried to form, but it felt weaker, less convincing, like an echo instead of a command. In Buddhist teaching, this moment of noticing is called mindfulness. It is not relaxation. It is clarity. When clarity appears, karma pauses. Not because the habit disappears, but because it is no longer being fed. Each time the mind reacts automatically, the habit strengthens. Each time the mind sees clearly and does not react, the habit weakens. This is why the Buddha emphasized awareness so strongly. Awareness is not passive, it is transformative. Many people believe changing deep patterns requires enormous effort, years of discipline, perfect control, but often change begins in moments so small they almost go unnoticed. A single breath taken before responding, a thought recognized instead of believed, a feeling allowed to pass without being analyzed. These moments plant new seeds. In Buddhist psychology, we often speak of the mind as a field. Whatever is watered grows. If worry is watered repeatedly, worry grows strong. If self-criticism is watered, it becomes loud and familiar. If awareness is watered, space begins to appear. Karma is simply the result of what has been watered over time. This understanding removes a great deal of self-blame. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are not being punished. You are experiencing the natural result of repetition. And what has been repeated can be changed. This is also where the idea of wholesome momentum becomes important. Every time the mind responds with patience instead of panic, something shifts. Every time you pause instead of react, a different path begins to form. At first, it feels unfamiliar. The grass is tall, the footing uncertain. But with time, the new path becomes easier to walk. This is why the Buddha taught gradual change, not instant transformation. He understood how deeply habits run, and he trusted the power of small, consistent shifts. You may notice this change first in the body. The jaw no longer clenches as often. The breath settles more quickly after stress. Sleep comes a little easier than before. These are signs that karma is changing. Not because life is perfect, but because the mind is learning a new response. The Buddha did not promise that old habits would vanish overnight. He taught how they lose their authority. When habits are seen clearly, they stop ruling the mind. They may still appear, but they no longer control. This is freedom in the Buddhist sense, not freedom from experience, freedom from automatic suffering. As awareness grows, something else becomes clear. The mind does not just need insight, it also needs support. Awareness creates space, but the mind also needs somewhere steady to return to, especially when old habits are strong. That is why the next step is so gentle and practical. Once you see how habits form, once you see how they loosen through awareness, the natural question arises: where can attention rest so that new patterns can grow without struggle? That question leads us directly to a simple, stabilizing practice, one that helps the mind feel safe enough to change. When awareness begins to loosen old habits, the mind naturally looks for something steady to lean on, not an idea to analyze, not a problem to solve, just a place where attention can rest without effort. Without that resting place, the mind understands the truth, but quickly slips back into old patterns. Insight opens the door. Stability keeps it open. This is where many people misunderstand one of the most important practices in Buddhist psychology. They think it is about belief, or faith, or asking for help from something outside themselves. But at its core, this practice is not about asking at all. It is about anchoring the mind. Imagine standing on a pier at night. The water below keeps moving dark and restless. You cannot stop the waves. You cannot calm the tide. But when you tie a rope to the post, then hold it gently, your body no longer sways with every movement. The water still moves. The wind still blows. Yet you remain steady. The mind works the same way. Thoughts will continue to arise. Memories will surface. Emotions will shift. The practice here is not to silence the mind. It is to give attention, something stable enough to return to. In Buddhist psychology, repetition serves this exact purpose. Not as ritual, not as superstition, but as training. When attention repeatedly returns to a single calm object, such as a word, a sound, or the rhythm of the breath, the nervous system begins to regulate itself. You may notice this physically. The breath deepens without being forced. The muscles around the eyes soften. The tension in the neck eases almost on its own. Nothing magical has happened. Something biological has. The mind has stopped scanning for danger. A man named Andrew once described how his nights used to feel endless. As soon as his head touched the pillow, his thoughts accelerated. He replayed mistakes. He worried about the future. He tried to think his way into sleep. One night, instead of thinking, he chose a single calming phrase and repeated it quietly in his mind, letting it move with his breathing. At first it felt mechanical, almost pointless, but then he noticed something small. The thoughts didn't disappear, but they lost their urgency. They passed through like distant headlights on a road no longer pulling him with them. His face softened. His breathing slowed. Sleep eventually followed, not because he forced it, but because his system felt safe enough to let go. This is the real function of this practice. It is not about belief. It is not about devotion. It is about creating a stable reference point for attention. The Buddha taught that suffering grows when the mind is scattered. Peace becomes possible when the mind is gathered. Gathering the mind does not require force. It requires repetition with gentleness. Each time attention wanders, it wanders. That is not failure. The moment you notice wandering and return that moment is the practice. That return trains a new habit. In Western life, the mind is conditioned to stay alert, to plan, to anticipate. Even rest becomes a task to manage. This practice offers something different. It allows the mind to rest without needing a reason. Over time, repetition creates familiarity. Familiarity creates trust. Trust allows the mind to stop bracing. This is why Buddhist teachers often emphasize simplicity. A short phrase, a steady sound, a natural rhythm. The object itself is not important. What matters is that it is calm, neutral, and easy to return to. When attention rests there, something important happens. Old mental habits lose their grip, not because they are fought, but because they are no longer fed. From the Buddhist perspective, this is how deep patterns change. Awareness sees the habit. Stability prevents it from taking over. Together, they transform conditioning. You may notice this shift first in subtle ways. Stress takes longer to escalate. Emotional reactions soften more quickly. Sleep comes with less resistance. These are signs that the mind has found an anchor. Many people worry they are doing the practice incorrectly because their mind keeps interrupting. But interruption is expected. The mind has spent years being trained to move constantly. It will not stop overnight. What matters is not how often the mind wanders, but how gently it is brought back. Each return strengthens calm. Each return weakens restlessness. This is not discipline, it is re-education. The mind is learning that it does not need to be on guard all the time. From a Buddhist psychological view, this practice also builds inner resilience. When attention has a stable home, emotions can move without overwhelming the system. Thoughts can appear without becoming commands. Uncertainty can exist without turning into fear. This is not avoidance of life. It is a healthier relationship with life. You are not escaping responsibility. You are learning how to meet it without self-destruction. This is why this practice is especially powerful at night. The world is quieter. The body is tired. The mind is more open to guidance. Even a few minutes of gentle repetition is enough to shift the system. There is no correct pace, no correct posture, no correct outcome. Let the phrase move naturally with the breath. If a thought interrupts, notice it kindly and return. That's all. Over time, the mind begins to recognize this rhythm as safe. And when the mind feels safe, it releases control. This is the deeper meaning behind the teaching. The practice is not about asking for peace. It is about creating the conditions where peace can arise on its own. When the mind has an anchor, it no longer needs to fight the waves. It can float. It can rest. It can let the night carry it gently into sleep. From this steadiness, the next step becomes possible, a simple, grounded way to bring all of this into a quiet nightly rhythm that supports both rest and healing. When the mind finally has something steady to lean on, the body begins to listen. You may feel it now, even before doing anything. A small softening behind the eyes, a breath that reaches a little deeper than before, a sense that for the first time today, nothing is asking you to hurry. This is the doorway, not into sleep yet, not into silence yet, but into coming home. You don't need an hour. You don't need a perfect setting. You only need a few uninterrupted minutes where nothing else matters. 7 minutes is enough. Think of this not as a technique, but as a transition, a bridge between the day you carried and the rest your body has been asking for. Begin wherever you are. If you are lying down, let the mattress support you fully. If you are sitting, allow your weight to settle into the chair. There is no posture to achieve, only gravity doing its job. Let your hands rest where they naturally fall. Notice the temperature of the room, the quiet hum of the night, the way the air touches your skin. Nothing needs to change. The first minute is simply arriving. Feel the breath as it is without adjusting it. Notice where it moves most easily, perhaps the chest, perhaps the belly. Let the inhale come on its own. Let the exhale leave without being pushed. As you breathe out, imagine the day loosening its grip. The emails, the conversations, the unfinished thoughts. You don't need to push them away. Just let them drift slightly farther back, like lights seen through a window at night. The second minute is about grounding. Bring attention gently into the body. Feel where you are holding without realizing it. The jaw, the shoulders, the stomach. You might notice a subtle bracing muscles that never fully let go during the day. As you breathe out, invite those places to soften. Not completely, just enough. If the mind comments, that's okay. You're not here to silence it. You're here to listen without following. The third minute is where the mind is given a home. choose a simple anchor. It could be the breath itself. It could be a short neutral phrase. It could be the gentle counting of exhales. Whatever you choose, let it be easy. Rest your attention there lightly, as if placing your hand on a table instead of gripping it. Thoughts will interrupt. They always do. When they do notice them, the way you would notice a sound passing by, then return without frustration, without commentary. That return is the practice. Each return teaches the nervous system something important. Nothing bad happens when attention stops chasing everything. The fourth minute is where something subtle often shifts. The body recognizes safety. You may feel warmth spreading through the chest, or a sense of heaviness in the limbs, or the breath slowing on its own. These are signs of regulation. In Buddhist psychology, this is when effort transforms into ease. The mind is no longer forcing calm. Calm is happening because the system no longer feels threatened. If emotions surface here, sadness, relief, even quiet grief allow them. They don't need interpretation. They don't need fixing. They are simply releasing what was held. The fifth minute is about letting go of control. Notice how often the mind tries to manage the future, to plan, to prepare. For this minute, gently set that aside. There is nothing to solve right now, nothing to prepare for. The body knows how to sleep. The mind knows how to rest when it feels safe enough. Each breath out is permission. Permission to not know. Permission to not decide. Permission to not carry. You may notice the edges of your awareness softening, as if the room feels slightly farther away. This is not losing awareness. This is widening it. The sixth minute is about integration. Let the anchor fade slightly into the background. You don't need to hold it as tightly now. Awareness can be open, spacious. Thoughts may still appear, but they feel less sticky, less convincing. You are not inside them anymore. You are watching them pass. This is the state the Buddha pointed to. Not a special trance, but a simple, clear presence without struggle. Nothing extraordinary, just free from pressure. The seventh minute is about trust. Trust that what needed to settle has begun to settle. Trust that rest does not require force. If sleep comes, let it come. If it doesn't, that's okay too. This time was not wasted. Every minute spent here trains the mind to recognize home. Home is not a place. It is a state where nothing is demanded of you, where attention is allowed to rest, where the body no longer braces for impact. This is how deep habits change, not through effort, not through analysis, but through repetition of safety. Each night you return here, the path becomes clearer. The system learns faster. The transition becomes smoother. Over time, 7 minutes becomes a signal that the day is over. That vigilance is no longer required, that it is safe to let go. You are not fixing yourself. You are reminding the body of something it already knows: how to rest, how to release, how to come home. And from this place, sleep, real sleep, can finally arrive on its own terms. When the mind has tasted rest even briefly, a new question quietly appears. If calm is possible, why do old worries keep returning? The answer is gentle and often misunderstood. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It does not mean pretending something never mattered. It does not mean erasing the past. Letting go means learning how not to carry everything forward. You can feel the difference in the body. Forgetting feels tight, forced, brittle. Letting go feels like setting something down with care. Many people believe that if they stop holding on to pain, they are being disloyal to their experiences, to their responsibilities, to the people they love. So, they keep carrying. They replay old moments to make sure they don't disappear. They rehearse future problems to feel prepared. They hold on to regret as proof that they care. But the Buddha observed something quietly profound. Memory itself does not cause suffering. Suffering arises when memory is carried as weight. You may notice this late at night. A memory appears not dramatic, not overwhelming, just a familiar scene. The mind leans into it. The chest tightens slightly. The breath shortens. Nothing new is happening. The event is over. But the body is reacting as if it is still unfolding. This is what it means to carry something. In Buddhist psychology, this is not seen as weakness. It is seen as conditioning. The mind learns to keep experiences close because it believes proximity equals control. If I keep thinking about it, I won't lose it. If I keep replaying it, I'll stay safe. But safety does not come from constant recall. It comes from knowing when something can be put down. Imagine walking all set with a bag over your shoulder. Inside are items you needed earlier: tools, documents, reminders. By evening, you no longer need them. But you keep carrying the bag anyway. Out of habit, out of caution. The bag itself is not the problem. Carrying it when it is no longer needed is. This is how the mind carries the past. The Buddha taught that wisdom is not about cutting things away. It is about understanding timing. What is useful now? What can rest? Letting go is not an act of force. It is an act of recognition. Recognition that this moment does not require the full weight of yesterday. You may feel this recognition physically. The shoulders drop when you realize you don't need to rehearse that conversation again tonight. The stomach softens when you stop planning tomorrow for a few minutes. The breath deepens when you allow uncertainty to exist without resistance. These are signs that something has been set down. A man once shared how he carried anger toward a family member for years, not outwardly, quietly. Every time the person's name came up, his jaw tightened. Every holiday, the tension returned. He thought letting go meant approving what had happened, so he held on. One evening, while sitting quietly, he noticed something simple. The anger was no longer protecting him. It was only exhausting him. When he allowed himself to stop carrying it for just one night, his face softened, not because the past changed, but because his relationship to it did. This is the heart of the teaching. Letting go does not rewrite history. It changes how history lives in the body. The Buddha described this as freedom from unnecessary burden. You still remember, you still care, but you are no longer crushed by the weight of remembering. In Western culture, there is often a strong emphasis on working through everything, analyzing, processing, understanding. These have their place, but Buddhism adds something essential. Not everything needs to be carried all the time to be understood. Sometimes understanding deepens when carrying stops. You may notice this with grief. When grief is fresh, it demands attention. It needs space. It needs care. But years later, grief often becomes heavy, not because love remains, but because the mind keeps reopening the wound. Letting go here does not mean forgetting the person. It means allowing love to remain without pain attached. The Buddha taught that clinging turns even beautiful things into sources of suffering. Love clung to becomes fear. Memory clung to becomes regret. Responsibility clung to becomes pressure. Release restores their original quality. Love becomes warmth. Memory becomes wisdom. Responsibility becomes care without tension. This release is not a single moment. It is a practice. Each time a thought arises and you notice, I don't need to carry this right now, a small shift occurs. The mind learns something new. It learns that letting go is safe. At first, the mind resists. It worries that if it stops holding on, things will fall apart, that it will lose something important. But experience teaches otherwise. When something is set down, the body feels lighter. The breath moves more freely. Sleep comes more easily. These are not accidents. They are signs that the system is returning to balance. In Buddhist teaching, this balance is called the middle way. Not clinging, not rejecting, allowing things to come and allowing them to go. You don't need to force this process. Forcing creates another form of holding. Instead, notice the moment when carrying becomes unnecessary. Notice when the mind keeps replaying without purpose. Notice when tension remains without function. Then gently choose not to pick it up again. This choice may last a few seconds at first. That is enough. Each time you do this, the habit of carrying weakens. The mind begins to trust that release is possible. You may feel this trust as a quiet confidence. Not loud, not dramatic, just a sense that you don't need to be on guard all the time. This is what the Buddha meant by peace. Not a perfect life, not an empty mind, but a mind that knows what to carry and what can rest. As the night deepens, this understanding becomes especially powerful. You do not need to take today into tomorrow. You do not need to bring old moments into sleep. Sleep itself is an act of letting go. Each time you allow yourself to rest, you practice release. And each time you practice release, you teach the mind something essential, that it is safe to not carry everything forward. As the weight begins to lift, something gentle often rises in its place. The heart, no longer busy defending itself naturally, turns outward, not with obligation, not with worry, but with quiet care. You may notice it now. A face appears in the mind. Someone you love. Someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Someone you worry about, even when you don't say it out loud. The mind doesn't rush this image. It simply allows it to be there. In Buddhist psychology, this moment is important. When the mind is no longer overwhelmed by its own burdens, it regains its natural capacity for goodwill. Not forced kindness, not moral effort, just a sincere wish. May you be well. May you be safe. May you find peace. You can feel the difference between worry and goodwill in the body. Worry tightens. Goodwill softens. Worry feels urgent, heavy, constricting. Goodwill feels warm, open, spacious. Many people confuse the two. They think worrying about family is the same as caring for them. So they carry fear in the name of love. But the Buddha taught something much more subtle. Care does not require anxiety. Love does not require suffering. In fact, anxiety clouds the very clarity that love needs. When the mind is calm, intention becomes clearer. When intention is clear, its effects reach farther. This is why Buddhist teachings often emphasize the power of intention over control. You cannot manage every outcome for the people you love. You cannot protect them from every difficulty, but you can offer something deeply human and deeply stabilizing. A calm presence, a steady heart, a wish for their well-being that is not tangled in fear. Imagine sitting quietly, the room dim, the night still. Your breath moves slowly now. Your shoulders rest naturally. The body no longer braced. In this state, bring to mind someone close to you. You don't need details. You don't need a story. Just their presence. Notice what happens. The chest warms slightly. The face softens. The breath remains steady. This is not imagination. This is the nervous system responding to connection without threat. In Buddhist psychology, this practice is sometimes called loving kindness. But at its heart, it is simply goodwill. Goodwill is the intention that others be free from suffering, not because you can guarantee it, but because wishing it aligns the mind with compassion instead of fear. You may notice that as you hold this intention, your own body relaxes further. This is not coincidence. The mind that wishes peace for others cannot simultaneously remain clenched. This is one of the Buddha's most practical insights. When the heart opens outward, it releases inward tension. This is why generosity of intention benefits both directions. A woman once shared how every night she worried about her adult son, his choices, his health, his future. She replayed conversations, imagined worst-case scenarios. She believed this vigilance was love. One evening, instead of worrying, she tried something different. She pictured him sleeping just as she was. She wished him safety. She wished him clarity, not solutions, not control, just peace. Her breathing slowed, her jaw unclenched. For the first time in months, she slept deeply. Her son's life did not suddenly change, but her relationship to it did. This is the quiet power of intention. The Buddha taught that the quality of the mind shapes experience more than circumstances alone. A fearful mind spreads fear internally and externally. A calm mind spreads calm. This is not mystical. It is relational. People sense when someone approaches them with tension. They also sense when someone approaches them with steadiness, even from a distance. Think of how you feel when someone speaks to you calmly without urgency. Your body responds. You listen differently. The same is true energetically, emotionally, psychologically. When you cultivate peace within yourself, you become a refuge for others, whether you speak or not. This is why Buddhist teachings often emphasize beginning with oneself. not out of selfishness, but because an unsteady mind cannot offer steadiness. Tonight, as the mind rests, you can allow this outward flow naturally. You don't need to do anything formal. Simply let the heart include others. You might start with those closest to you: family members, friends, people who share your daily life. You may also include those you feel tension with. Not to fix the relationship, not to excuse harm, just to release the burden of carrying resentment. Wishing peace does not mean agreement. It means choosing not to suffer unnecessarily. You might notice resistance. The mind may say, "They don't deserve this," or "This won't change anything." That's okay. This practice is not about deserving. It is about freeing your own heart from constant contraction. In Buddhist psychology, this release is sometimes described as merit, not in a transactional sense, but as inner balance. When the mind acts from clarity instead of fear, it returns to equilibrium. That equilibrium feels like peace. You may notice this now. A sense of openness in the chest, a quiet warmth, a feeling of being connected without being overwhelmed. This is the heart at rest. From this place, the wish for peace extends naturally, not only to family, but outward to others who are struggling tonight. People lying awake, people carrying grief, people feeling alone. You don't need to imagine them clearly. Just allow the intention to expand. May others find rest. May others feel supported. May suffering ease where it can. As this intention moves outward, notice what happens inward. The body softens further. The breath becomes effortless. The sense of separation lessens. This is not sentimentality. It is regulation. The nervous system recognizes safety not only in isolation, but in connection. This is one of the Buddha's most compassionate teachings. Peace is not a private possession. It grows when shared, not because others take it from you, but because sharing prevents the mind from collapsing inward again. You don't need to hold this intention tightly. Let it be light, like a quiet glow rather than a spotlight. The night does not need effort. As this practice settles, something becomes clear. You are not responsible for carrying everyone's pain, but you are capable of offering something far more sustainable. A calm presence, a steady heart, a wish for peace without fear attached. This is how care becomes healing rather than exhausting. As sleep approaches, allow this sense of connection to remain soft and open. You have done enough tonight. You have rested. You have released. You have offered goodwill. Nothing more is required. Let the mind drift knowing that peace given outward gently finds its way back home. And as you sleep, may that peace continue quietly, naturally for you, and for those you hold in your heart. As the night settles more deeply around you, there is nothing left to reach for, no next step to chase, no future moment where peace finally arrives. Because what you may be sensing now, softly, quietly, is this simple truth: peace was never waiting at the end of the road. It has always been available right here in this breath. You can feel it in the body, the way the forehead smooths without effort, the way the tongue rests gently in the mouth, the way the breath moves in and out unbothered, reliable. Nothing dramatic has happened tonight. No problems were solved. No life was fixed. And yet, something has changed. The change did not come from adding anything new. It came from stopping the struggle to become someone else. The Buddha's deepest teaching was not about achieving a special state. It was about seeing clearly what is already here. When the mind stops resisting it, suffering, he taught, grows when we postpone peace. When we tell ourselves, "I'll rest once this is handled," or "I'll be calm when things improve." But life rarely waits for perfect conditions. There is always another concern, another responsibility, another unknown. If peace depended on the future, it would never arrive. So the Buddha pointed somewhere else. He pointed to the present moment, to the body breathing, to the mind noticing, not as an escape from life, but as a way to live it without constant strain. You may notice this now in a very ordinary way. The breath comes in, the breath goes out. No achievement, no failure, just happening. This is what he meant by an inner refuge, not a place you go to, a way of relating to what is already happening. When attention rests with the breath even briefly, the nervous system recognizes safety. When safety is felt, the need to brace dissolves. When bracing dissolves, peace reveals itself. Not loud, not overwhelming, but steady. This steadiness is not fragile. It does not disappear because life is imperfect. It does not require silence forever. It simply asks to be remembered. You may notice that the mind still wanders from time to time. Thoughts may appear. Images may flicker. That's okay. Peace does not require an empty mind. It requires a kind relationship with the mind you have. Each time you notice wandering and return to the breath, you are practicing something profound. You are choosing presence over pressure, clarity over control. This choice, repeated gently, changes how life is experienced over days, over weeks, over years. Not by force, by familiarity. Many people think inner peace must feel extraordinary to be real. But the Buddha described it as something very simple. A mind that is no longer at war with itself. You may sense that now as a quiet neutrality, a lack of urgency, a feeling that nothing needs to be solved tonight. This is not giving up. This is wisdom recognizing limits. You do not need to carry the past into this moment. You do not need to take the future to bed with you. Right now, this breath is enough. In Western life, there is often a belief that value comes from effort, that rest must be earned, that stillness is unproductive. But the Buddha taught that rest is not the opposite of growth. It is the ground where growth becomes possible. A tired mind cannot see clearly. A rested mind can. By allowing yourself to rest tonight, you are not avoiding life. You are meeting it with more care. This is how calm becomes practical. Not as a philosophy to admire, but as a way of living that reduces unnecessary suffering. You may notice over time that moments like this begin to appear more easily in a pause between conversations, in a breath before responding, in the simple act of noticing the body while walking. Peace stops feeling distant. It becomes familiar, and familiarity breeds trust. Trust that you can return here again tomorrow, or whenever the weight feels heavy. You don't need a perfect routine. You don't need special conditions. You only need to remember this doorway. The breath is always available. The body is always here. The present moment never leaves. If sleep comes now, let it come naturally. If it doesn't, that's okay too. Rest is already happening. The mind has softened. The body has settled. That is enough. Before drifting further, you might quietly acknowledge yourself, not with pride, with kindness. You showed up. You listened. You allowed yourself to pause. These small acts matter more than you realize. They shape the tone of your inner world. They influence how you meet others. They ripple outward in ways you may never see. This is how peace moves through a life, quietly, consistently, one breath at a time. If this space felt helpful tonight, you are welcome to return to it again. You are also welcome to share it with others who may need a place to rest. No pressure, no obligation, just an open door. For now, let the breath continue on its own. Let the body sink fully into support. Let the mind drift without effort. Peace is not waiting somewhere else. It is already here, and it will still be here when you wake.